There's two lapel, yes. I have one, Venerable Shen, I have one. What do you mean? I have one. She has one. What?
Okay, morning everyone. Today we don't have a lot of time, and we've been trying to do this for a while, but something always came up. We tried to answer a review from Amazon book, Pure Land Handbook. It's our introduction to. It's an introduction to our American Pure Land approach, if you will. It's because when I first started teaching about 15 years ago, as per my master's order, he didn't tell me what to teach. But I decided to teach Pure Land as well as Chan. And over the years, I studied what he taught to his disciples. And So our Pure Land approach evolved from his Pure Land teachings in Chinese. And eventually, because of our different experiences, different results, as compared to his disciples' results, so I decided to differentiate ourselves by calling ourselves American Pure Land, because theirs is basically Chinese Pure Land, which personally I don't like. It's not to my taste. Anyway, so we introduced this Pure Land Handbook years ago, and I ignored it because never thought that Westerners would buy into it. But apparently, it's fairly well received, to our surprise, to my personal surprise. So there's some reviews that is brought to my attention about this book that erroneous. So I thought I would address them and maybe get the input as well on how to avoid misunderstanding or whether it's possible. So this review here is a 1 star. It breaks my heart, of course. It says, very disappointing, and I'm also very disappointed. Reviewed in September 19, 2019. So it's about a year ago. Where to begin? The author misrepresents just about every school of Buddhism imaginable. Cool. He appears not to have studied in any sort of objective academic sense, and despite claims to the contrary, engages in ridiculous superstitious supposition. There are also several instances of breakdown in internal logic that may be Venerable YongHua's or may be inherent in this type of Pure Land. Very good. I'm very disappointed. I was hoping to finally read a well-presented explanation of Pure Land. Guess I keep looking. Guess I keep looking. So far, the English is perfect until guess I keep looking. What does it mean? Am I missing something about the semantics here? Or what? What am I missing? Black. So he left off, I guess I keep looking. So this is common, this is normal. It's common. Okay, thank you. I learned something new today. Thank you. All right. Okay, so there's also a slide, another review, of course, but there's also a slide in larger types for your reference. Okay. Of course, I disagree with this kind of thinking. This is exactly why I had to write this Pure Land Handbook, and we spent time doing this on our own, and even try to put it on Amazon so that it has better another channel of access for many people, especially Westerners. So he says, where to begin, meaning that he has a lot of problems, a lot of issues. This author, which he later says, Venerable Master YongHua, which shows that this guy has some Buddhist background, some certain amount of respect for the Buddhist Sangha, which is a plus to him. Okay, but he says the author, who is very polite, misrepresents just about every school of Buddhism imaginable. This is typical of the Westerners, or the Hinayana-oriented Westerners in particular, because these Westerners learn Buddhism through the lens of the Hinayana authors, the Hinayana teachers, through the Hinayana researchers. In fact, as far as Buddhism is concerned, it's not until my master brought Buddhism from China to the US in the 1960s, And he spent years training his disciples to do the proper translation to English. Again, I emphasize this is one of the greatest contributions from his disciples and from him in particular to give us a base, a vocabulary, a jargon for Mahayana Buddhism in English. So it's a huge contribution, which I'm still very grateful and will always be very grateful for that. That's how I started to learn about Mahayana Buddhism 25 years ago, by reading the Buddhism in English. I also had a chance to read a lot of stuff in other authors, other masters, other scholars, and so forth. And in particular, you shouldn't be surprised, I read a lot of translations of the Hinayana Buddhism from Pali, from Sanskrit, from Chinese into English. And I found them to be subpar, okay, in terms of depth of understanding as compared to the English translation from my master's side, the DRBA, Dharma Realm Buddhist Association, particularly the Buddhist Text Translation Society, BTTS. That's the branch, the arm, where they translate and they sell these books online or whatever. So I found the non-BTTS translations to be subpar, to be inferior. That's my standard. Okay, so in particular, BTTS has only one book that translates from Chinese into English of Master YongHua's Pure Land Buddhism. It's called the Buddha Root Farm. And it's a good book. That's the first book I read that I learned, that helped me learn about Chinese Pure Land Buddhism. That is very written in very simple languages, but it's very accurate. It's very good as compared to the other books out there. So anyway, but still it's Chinese Pure Land Buddhism in my humble opinion. So this guy here, this person here, I don't know what's his name. Is there a name here? It's blacked out. Okay. Anyway, I'm just was curious to find out what his background, to better understand where his biases are, what his biases are. But basically, he seems to be well researched. That he says every school of Buddhism imaginable, meaning that he's fairly well read about Buddhism. He appears, next sentence, he appears to not have studied in any sort of objective academic sense. You see, this is why he betrays his bias. Academic sense, meaning his guys here relies on academia as his reference points. And for us, Mahayana people, honestly, is only one academician I highly regard, okay? And it's not in this country. Okay? And I won't reveal you this person's name because I know this person is not no ordinary person. That's why I cannot reveal you the name, his name. It's a he. Anyway, it eliminates a lot of she authors for you. But the academic sense, objective academia, this is typical of the scholars. They feel they're objective, actually they are stupid. It's no other accurate description from our Mahayana perspective. They don't understand Mahayana at all. Okay? They understand Mahayana Buddhism through the lenses of Hinayana. All right? Yes, Black, you have a comment. I'm sorry? I cannot hear Black.
What's the matter? Is this working or not? Is this working now?
Try it again.
Okay. Is this working? Yeah. So they are stupid, and they actually don't know anything about Buddhism. No. Okay. I can't see any real problem with
This is important because it's not just me who calling the scholars stupid. It's someone else who's calling scholars stupid. And somehow the audio system is screwed up. You notice the
It worked now.
you have to learn how to use it properly, sir. You have to point it at your own mouth because we don't want people to think that I'm the only stupid person here. Yes, go ahead. Black again.
Well, as I said, the scholars really are stupid, and I actually think I'm actually of the opinion that they can't think very well, because they hear about the concepts of Buddhism, they've read it in a book, but they have not done any practice. It's all in their minds.
Exactly. Very good.
It's all thinking.
It's very good. The reason we call them stupid, I call them stupid, and please don't call them stupid because for very sound reasons. And number one, Buddhism is taught not for scholars to study. Okay, the purpose of the Buddha teaching Buddhism is to help us practice so that we can open our true wisdom, not knowledge. The scholars specialize in acquiring knowledge, not wisdom. And you cannot acquire wisdom unless you practice. Okay? The deep wisdom in Mahayana cannot arrive at unless you cultivate. Okay? Yes, you have some so-called literary wisdom by reading the scriptures and researching scriptures like scholars do. That's correct. However, it's very, very dangerous to do that alone because historically, these people, these scholars in particular, synthesize to arrive at their thesis. All right? They read the Buddha's teaching and say, okay, I synthesize this sutra with the other sutra, this sutra with the other shastras, and so forth. And what happened is that it's not possible for you to synthesize Buddhism, okay, Buddhist concepts, because you don't have the wisdom to synthesize. It happens to all of us, meaning that even after the people who are enlightened, and they try to synthesize one sutra with the others, they also get screwed up as well. They also mess up as well. Okay? So it's not just for scholars, it's for professionals like us as well. Okay? Be careful. Do not try to synthesize. Yeah. Yes, Black, continue.
So are you saying that the sutras don't really mix? You can't just take, you really just can't take from one and then take from another and then try to come up with something.
Yeah, you cannot arrive
that's
at,
synthesizing.
You cannot combine one sutra, one master's teaching with another master's teaching, and you say, therefore you deduce, therefore
yeah.
This is the case. Synthesize, what I mean by synthesis is what scholars do, what I was trained to do in academia. Okay, I've seen academians, I've seen a lot of PhD people synthesize. They wrote the thesis, whether master's thesis or PhD thesis, and they combine them to arrive at their conclusion, and that's not possible. They miss so many things. Okay, that's so wrong in scholarly circles to do that, and that's why, in particular, think about very easy for us Buddhists to look at philosophy in those departments. You see those people synthesize, and their understanding of is already erroneous, and you build something on top of some falsities. It cannot be true anymore. So it gets worse and worse and worse. It's happening in scholarly circles in Buddhism as well. Okay. Yes. Yeah. Internet.
This is coming from a scholar. Scholars are stupid and arrogant. Scholars think too much but practice too little. Scholars admit that we are stupid.
Then this person has potential. I'm sorry. It's just that I know I'm supposed to be polite and so forth, but if you're polite, we are misrepresenting the facts. The fact is that you are stupid. Why do you call me stupid? Why do we call scholars stupid? Except for one person? I'm very precise. I met so many scholars. Okay, I read so many scholars. I read these theses, these articles, whatever things they publish in Buddhist journals, whatever. And I read for a few sentences, and I said, well, this guy is stupid, forget it. It's not worth my time to dig into this. Okay, whether it's scholars from this country or even scholars who are, let's say, Sri Lankans love to have earned PhDs from universities. I read so many of them, and then I read translations into English from Japanese. Okay, these scholars as well, and I just read these translation for a few paragraphs and said, no, this is a waste of time. But in some cases, I read the entire article to make sure to see the scope of their misunderstanding. Okay, and it's total waste of time. It's total garbage, if you will. Yes, sir, Black.
Articles are very weak in Buddhist terms, very weak. The Japanese, they're very weak. I don't know about Sri Lankan. I don't know. The Japanese are very weak.
Unlike you, I have, before I made these claims, I have to actually spend the time and dig into these things. And I found them to be ridiculous, superstitious suppositions. So, back at you. Okay? And that's exactly what they're thinking. They're thinking that my master, for example, is talk about Pure Land Buddhism. You can qualify them as ridiculous, you can qualify them as superstitious, suppositions as well, if you will. Okay? It's because these scholars expect to see results, and it's not what Pure Land Buddhism is about. Okay? Yes, Internet.
Can one of your Sangha respond to the reviewer?
Good point. I'm hoping that I bring it out in this for discussion for you, for many of you to respond in your own way. Some of you are enlightened, some of you are not. Respond in whatever you think is true to how you feel about this. That's honest. We're not trying to destroy them, trying to prove we're right, but I'm hoping that we should have an open discussion. I think we should take this as very constructive criticism. Okay, I don't get offended by this, but that's why we should discuss it so that you, all of you, should feel free to answer in your own ways. Okay, if I answer it, then I sound defensive. I sound so superstitious and so extreme in my beliefs. You should answer from your perspective. If you're an academician, you're a scholar, you are a non-scholar, you're an engineer, you are a housewife, answer in your own ways. It's perfectly okay. But this is what I was hoping for, that we put these materials on Amazon so that we have a forum to discuss these things. And we should be open to criticism. And I love it when they get to use these words, ridiculous, superstitious suppositions. That's how I look at, by the way, at Chinese Pure Land Buddhism. That's why I had to call it American Pure Land Buddhism. Because the Chinese are doing a lot of things that are showing the depth of understanding of Pure Land Buddhism, and then maybe from my personal perspective, the fear of monks and nuns like me who are afraid to go out on a limb to teach Pure Land Buddhism as the way it's supposed to be taught. Because otherwise, if we go too far and stray from what the the majority of the Buddhist monks and nuns are teaching, then we're going to be attacked and categorized, classified as engaging in ridiculous, superstitious supposition. Okay, so this is fantastic of a review. And there are several instances of breakdown in internal logic that may be venerable YongHua, may be inherent in this type of Pure Land. So great. So these scholars don't believe in our type of American Pure Land Buddhism. That's great. That's reinforcement again that their understanding is so shallow, is so erroneous, and they really don't understand Pure Land Mahayana Pure Land Buddhism at all. Okay. I'm very disappointed. I was hoping to finally read a well-presented explanation of Pure Land. I guess I keep looking. I'm sorry he's disappointed, and it's not for everyone, I guess. Some of you are very, very impressed, and it showed from the way these people behaved. If they really bought into this our American Pure Land Buddhism, it shows right away. And these scholarly people, they don't really believe. They don't understand Pure Land Buddhism at all, okay? Let alone try to understand our American representation of Pure Land Buddhism. You can't blame them. Because even for me personally, when I started teaching our brand of Pure Land Buddhism, I had to carefully present it and formulate it in a way that helps build that on top of the Chinese Pure Land Buddhism. Okay, so this this person here is a step even below that. Okay. That he doesn't not even understand Chinese Pure Land Buddhism. I was hoping to finally read a well-presented explanation of Pure Land, you see? So even he doesn't even understand Chinese Pure Land Buddhism, let alone our American Pure Land Buddhism. All right? All right, time is up. There's one more. I'm not sure we have time to go into it. Also, it's blacked out. So we don't know whether it's Chinese, American, or what kind of ethnicity or whatever. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Yes, internet.
While meditating, is it fine to listen to vibrations or tones, and does it benefit meditating?
Vibrations or tones? It depends on where you are. When the way this person asks indicates that this person hasn't got very far. because vibrations and tones are still in the form and the desire realms. If you reach the level of the formless realms, samadhis, you would not be attached to vibrations or tones anymore. That's my answer. Okay, so the answer, that's, you will, scholarly answer, or if you want me to be blunt, is if it helps you originally, it's okay. But in our Chan approach, you start with that, but eventually you let go of it naturally as you improve to higher levels. In particular, more precisely, it's easier for you to reach the formless realms, samadhis, if you are able to get rid of your attachments to vibrations or tones. All right, I'm going to... Yes, question, last question. I don't have any time anymore. Yes?
I could ask a question that a few people have asked me about. Master discussed the doing the 108 Great Compassion Repentance. People have asked me, they've read Great Master YongHua's instruction about having to do the 108 at the exact same time every day and having to do them in one sitting. But we didn't know if Master...
It's not repentance, this is the Tabe Jo.
Oh, sorry.
What kind of nonsense are you talking about? You're a professional. You have to be careful when you speak. If I lay people, I don't mind. But you have been with me for over 10 years, several years at least, as a professional, as a monk. How can you talk like that?
I'm sorry, I misspoke. I meant the 108 Great Compassion mantras.
It shows your mind is confused. You cannot do that. Okay? And when you speak in public, you're representing our Dharma, and therefore you have to be more focused. So what is the question again?
Whether the 108 recitations need to be at the same time every day, and also whether it needs to be in one sitting, because these are things they heard from Great Master YongHua, but that they didn't hear when you discussed it. I think in some previous lectures you didn't mention those details.
My Master YongHua says it's best you select a time and you try to do it every day for 3 years. That's what he's referring to, yes?
Yes. So they're asking you...
So even your question is incomplete. Am I correct? He's referring to the context of 108 times a day for 3 years, Dharma.
Yes, yeah, that is the Dharma.
Why can't you say that? I said everything in one sentence. I have to spend 5 years, 3 minutes talking to you to clarify your question. Think clearer.
Yes, I'm sorry.
My Master, when he recommended reciting the Great Compassion Mantra 108 times a day for 3 years, that particular Dharma is very good. And so he recommends that you do it at the same time every day. Okay? It's a very good suggestion because it reserves a block of time for you to do that, okay? So that it becomes part of your life, because otherwise for you it's a struggle. Every day, so, oh my God, today I have to do 108 times again, this mantra. And therefore, that's the purpose of recommend to me. That's why he recommended reserving, that doing it at the same time every day. But it's not always possible. 3 years, it's a lot of days, 1,000 days, over 1,000 days. And it's not possible for you to be able to do that every single day. Okay, I would be very surprised if anyone can do that. Okay, even for you who may be given the chance to do retreats, and you will have nothing to do all day but meditate or recite or whatever you do without having to work and so forth. And in the future, I will allow some of you to do that to help speed up your progress once you have enough blessings. So even if you do that, it's not possible because of something called karmic obstructions. They will come and stop you. Okay? And your karmic obstructions will stop you. It's because in the past, you obstructed others in the cultivation. Therefore, it's not uncommon for us to be obstructing our cultivation. Okay, so now I finally understand that's what he meant by that is that you do it for the purpose of helping it become automatic and not think about that, think of it as a chore anymore. So once you understand that, once you agree with my interpretation, and unfortunately it's only my personal interpretation, it's no longer around for me to ask him. Okay, I'm not like the other people who say, "Oh, Master Shih, please tell me what do you need to do." He's dead, meaning that I can't ask him questions anymore for me personally, so I won't bother. Okay, his disciples, his devoted and loyal disciples still pray to him and said, help me do this, help me with that. I don't, because I respect the fact that he chose to go. Meaning that he doesn't give me a chance to ask him questions anymore. So I figure it out myself, or ask someone else who's still alive, or appears in front of me. But anyway, if you agree with my interpretation, then it doesn't matter whether you do in one sitting or whatever, because you try your best. I still recommend, reserve the block of time for you to do that. As you do that, naturally you get faster and faster, and therefore you spend less time doing these things and less of a drain on your strength and your resources. Actually should help you in your daily life. You're able to do that. So then it doesn't matter whether you do in one sitting or next sitting. You try your best to do 108 times. Okay, so you try to do in one block of time right there. If you can't, because some days it might be raining, it might be a flood somewhere in Japan, or in India, or Vietnam, or in Mississippi, then you be interrupted, and you try your best once you're able to resume it. Okay, don't be so stuck up on these things. The point is try to reach 108 times every day. Okay, in the process of doing that, you learn something that you yourself will find out that we don't explain to you. We can verify for you, we don't explain it to you. All right? All right, time is up. Thank you, everyone. Let's take a 5-minute break and come back and do the lunch offering. We still have one more. So again, I'm glad someone asked. You should feel free to answer. Give make a comment on this review here, and there's another one. Okay, maybe we have a chance to discuss it in the future. Thank you, everyone.